Welcome to the post-match fan show. I am Diyar, and today I'm going to be joined by various Palace fans from across the globe to discuss that Palace result against Tottenham. As always, before I start with Pat here, if you want to come on and have your say for the next game, make sure to DM us on Twitter or message us on Facebook, and we'll have you on after the games. Pat, what a result. 1-1, but you know what? I didn't expect that. We found the perfect balance, and I think we deserved a point. What do you make of the game?
100% we deserved a point. Going into the match, I thought it was going to be a typical Palace Spurs 1-0 Spurs type game. After the first half, I thought maybe it was going that way. But in the second half, we just had so much fire and so much fervor and really took to them. And I think we got a well-deserved 1 point.
Yeah, you look at the first half. Let's quickly talk about the first half. It wasn't as good as the second half, of course. But let's talk about that incident. We conceded a goal from out of nowhere, but he made some brilliant saves before that. Vicente Guaita. Looking back at that goal, I'm still baffled. I wonder what he said post-match, if he did talk about it. But it was just so unexpected. Like, even Wayne Hennessy, I wouldn't expect that from. The ball was going straight on and he just shuffled out. But he's at the end of the game, looking back at it, he's one of the man of the match contenders, and it shows how good he is, doesn't it? Because he has an absolute howler and makes some brilliant saves to keep us in the game.
Of course, it shows the mental kind of strength that he has. A lot of goalkeepers in that situation would kind of fold under that. You make a mistake and you kind of think about it, but he was kind of, it happened. Let's move forward with it. It took a nasty kind of slice at the end. And even with the weather, you still need to make that save. He kind of got wrong-footed. He assumed it was going to go and kind of curve one way, and it didn't. But credit to him. I mean, that free kick at the end from Diyar that he put his hand on, that saved us the point.
Was you surprised at the way that we set up? Because today, I feel like this was the perfect balance. Today, we managed to find attacking options correctly, and we had the movement there. Defensively, we had the support there as well as the one and only Vicente Guaita, of course. But when you look at the results, and when you're looking at Roy Hodgson, we talked about a lot here. Roy Hodgson this, Roy Hodgson that. It doesn't get it right. It doesn't find a balance. But today, what do you make of his tactical decisions? Did you find them just to be, was you surprised by it? Because I didn't expect this to happen. I feel like he found a perfect balance.
I was really happy with how he set up. Getting Eze and Schlepp on the pitch at the same time has been huge. And letting Schlepp play in that right channel where he can kind of cut in on the left, I think that's something that we didn't really think too much of. And it allows Eze to link up with PVA and Wilf. And then Benteke, man, he didn't get the goals, but I think he won like 12 out of 14 or 15 aerials. Like, he was really, really pivotal and kind of freeing those guys up. And even on that goal from Schlepp, it looked like two guys on Spurs were marking him because he was such a threat in the air that it kind of allowed that space to kind of drift in. So I was really happy with it. Klein, too. Klein's just been a revelation. I mean, he gets better every match as well.
That's the thing with Klein. We're probably not going to talk about him. Well, we're talking about him, but probably fans won't talk about him again. But I think that's at least 3 to 4 games where even when we've lost, he's been absolutely just brilliant, like going forward and defensively. What have you made of his time? Of course, you haven't been on these shows for a while now, it feels like anyways. What have you made of his performance over the last 3 to 4 games or even 5?
He looks like somebody that needed a run of games and consistency to kind of get going. And he's starting to show like why he went to Liverpool in the first place, why he got England caps in the first place. I mean, he's coming off an injury. He hadn't played in a while, but every single time he's on that pitch, he gets better and better. And I love Joel Ward and what he's done with the club, but he wasn't able to get forward. Klein lets us be a little less one-dimensional in terms of only going up that left flank. Now we can go up the left and the right. It keeps the defense guessing a little more, and he's been doing the great job defensively as well.
Yeah, well, his contract does run out in January. Do you think it's right to extend him now that Nathan Ferguson picked up another injury as well, it seems like?
No, 100%. Even if Ferguson didn't get an injury, you got to keep it. I mean, he's done nothing to prove that he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah. Now, looking at the other side of the pitch, looking at Eze once again. Eze, Zaha, we talked a bit about Benteke there. I mean, I don't know what to say about Eze from now on. I just feel like the way that he's settled in, I honestly don't know what his ceiling is. Like, what is Eze's ceiling? Because once again, today, we could have, Adam's actually saying it here, it should have been 3 points. He was so important going forward, and he created these chances that at times I'm watching, I'm like, how do you do this? How is this possible? How are you doing this in Roy Hodgson's system that we've criticized? But once again, Another great performance from him. And if he continues this, then I'm a bit worried because teams are going to be looking at him and saying, well, they've got a player there. Surely it might be worth investing in him rather than Zaha, which he's younger than Eze.
Yeah, I mean, it's a marvel that no other clubs are really seriously going after him this transfer window, and thankfully for us, he's so clever with the ball. He makes great runs without the ball. He's not afraid to kind of get some dirty work in defensively. That one maybe about in the 20 or so minute, midway through that first half, where he had a ball over the top to Zaha. It didn't end up going in, but it was just an absolutely gorgeous ball. Picked a pass out perfectly. Like, he offers things that no one else on this club can offer for us, and it shows. I mean, Wilf no longer doesn't have to do everything. Wilf didn't have a great game today. You know, he was running around. He did his due diligence, but his shots were really off. He got dispossessed a bunch, but it didn't matter because we now all of a sudden have these other outlets we can go through offensively.
You say Wilf did get dispossessed a bunch, but what about the referee? Because there was that element as well where when you look at the stats, it's probably going to show that Wilf being dispossessed a lot, but the referee today it was absolutely shambolic, and honestly, I don't understand it. You saw in the second half, Wilf nearly got injured. He was down holding his shin. He got kicked all over the game, even in the first half as well. I really don't understand that type of referee performance. It was just absolutely inconsistent.
For sure. I mean, there's no excuse for that. But point being is that that's not the first time we've had a referee, officiate a game like that against us, against Wilf. And normally when it happens, we don't have a second chance. We don't have a plan B. We don't have anything else we can do for it. Now that we have Eze, now that Benteke looks like Benteke, I mean, this is the first time in 2 years that Benteke looked like he wanted the ball at his feet. And it was incredible to watch. I love seeing him in form again. But we have, different plans, different options, different outlets. And now that, if Wilf is getting marked out of a game or kicked out of a game in this scenario, we still can kind of have some things that we can go forward with.
Exactly. And looking ahead to the next game against West Ham on Wednesday night, how do you see that one going? Because they're not bad. Like you think West Ham, we should be able to beat them, but I think they're fifth in the league or sixth. Like, they're a very good side. Do you see Roy Hodgson just going out and setting up the team in the similar way? And
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that West Ham, they're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this year. They beat Leicester 4-0, and then they will get beat by like a lower table team, like held a clean sheet against them. So they're kind of hard. I have no idea what they're going to come up against, but they do like to kind of hit on the counter a little bit too. And the way we played today, the way we created, I mean, I think we ended up having more shots than Spurs today. So like the way we set up today, if we can keep that moving forward and just keep playing fluid, keep having Benteke be that kind of pivot point in the front and hold up play and let those guys kind of run around him, I think we're going to end up getting more points than we lose.
Yeah, I 100% agree. What do you think of Luka's performance today? We talked about a bunch of other players, but I've been highly critical of Luka. I feel like he hasn't reached the form of last season and even start of this season. He hasn't reached the form that we've seen him reach in previous campaigns when he first joined us. But today, apart from that yellow card, which was annoying to watch because I feel like he had such a good performance, really.
Yeah, and again, with, like you said before, with the refereeing just being inconsistent, there were some issues and instances on the other side where Spurs players easily could have had some yellow cards from doing the same exact thing, and they let it go. Yeah, he has poise to him. Whether or not he's, I don't think he's hit like his form in true like tactic or technically or anything like that. But he has that poise to him on the pitch, and I think he has that calmness, and he's able to kind of set up that midfield and set up the defense when we need to sit back. And he's done a great job with that. He still picked some pretty good passes out. But yeah, that yellow card was a little ticky-tacky, I'd say.
Yeah, Zach says I'd rather have Maka over Gyro, and Maka and Gyro over Luka. Luka's actually been very good. So Jordan Benteke looks like he has confidence back. And what signing Eze says Jim. Yeah, 100% agree. But Pat, I know you're busy, but thanks for joining me. You come right at the right moment. You missed the Burnley Newcastle game. I know you missed it on purpose. Don't lie to me after them performances. but watch, you'll come back after the West Ham game when we get a result as well.
Hey, let's do it. I'm all for it.
All right, then. See you later, Pat.
Take care, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Well, we're going to have other people on as well. We're going to have Chris Hamlin from our own Back of the Nest. He was at the game. he could potentially be coming on as well once he's back at the car. But we're going to have other fans on as well. If you want to have your say, message me on message back of the nest on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll have you on. And keep sending your comments and your questions, and I'll be reading them out in just a second. But what a performance. I mean, honestly, I've been, as I said, of Luka, of Roy Hodgson, I've been critical. But today, I feel like, even though over that 5-1 win over West Brom, I feel like today's performance was better in a way, considering that we played Tottenham, who are very good this season. We managed to just find balance. I think that's the most important word today. The balance was just very, very good. And we went forward in numbers. We defended in numbers. Damali says, "Where's Hambo? He could be potentially coming on. He was at the game, so I'm not too sure. He said something about his what do you call it? His phone being low on battery. So I'm going to see if he's still coming on. But we're going to have the other Chris, the usual Chris, that comes on as well if Hambo doesn't come on. So we'll have someone on in just a second. But if you want to have your say, let me know. Daniel says, I'm so pleased with the point. Tim says, excellent performance. 100% agree. I feel like a point was a minimum out of that game. If he walked out of the game with no point, then it would have been absolutely shambolic. But let me know what you guys think of Vicente Guaita, because I don't understand it. He had an absolute howler with that goal that he let in, but he still managed to be man of the match. This just shows how much of a good goalkeeper he is. There's so many goalkeepers that in that moment, they'll just crumble. They'll crumble. They'll be thinking about all game long. But Vicente, yes, we scored that goal when it's 1-1, but he kept us in the game. Even when it was 1-1, he kept us in the game after having an absolute howler. I mean, it was just absolutely brilliant performance by him. Chris is coming on. I don't know about Hambo. Hambo might come on. But Chris said that he's just coming on right now. So we're going to have Chris on in just a second. But it's just absolute. I don't understand it. Like, it shows how much of a good goalkeeper he is, Vicente. And we need to give him a contract extension. Contract running out next summer. So he definitely deserves it. Daniel says Guaita equals prime Neuer. Zach says it was a great performance. If it wasn't Spurs who have a solid defense, to be fair, I feel it would have been another game like West Brom. Yeah, that's a very good point, because they did have a very good defense. They've had, look at Man City, look at the Arsenal result. They've been very solid defensively. But Chris is here now, so let's speak to Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad, guys. Not bad. 1-0. Can't complain.
Yeah. What do you make of that performance? 1-1 against Tottenham at home with the fans back as well. Some good display.
Yeah, man. Yeah, those. To be honest, throughout the 90 minutes, we looked decent. We looked all right. I was very impressed with sort of like how the boys went around the business, if I'm being honest. And Guaita, what a goalie! What a goalie!
Yes. Well, let's talk about Guaita, the first goal that he conceded. Very unlike him. I'm not too sure what exactly happened. But I think what you take away from this game, if you're talking about Vicente Guaita, is that he can have an absolute howler like that and still be man of the match. Not many goalkeepers can do that. Not many goalkeepers, because it can easily play on his mind. He could have easily just been like, oh, how do I concede that? And it could have absolutely been, disastrous for him. But he saved us. Yes, we scored a goal up there. But even when we did score a goal, and even before that, he literally saved us, and one of the man of the match contenders today.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it's being a goalkeeper, mentally it's tough, because you can be in a game and it could be 0-0 and you're not doing anything. And then one little lapse of concentration, a little mistake could creep in. And then all of a sudden, all the scrutiny is on you. It's always a brave man that's got to be a goalie. So seeing him bounce back from that mistake, these things happen. It's one of these things. But this is the difference between him and someone like Hennessy, because I was thinking about it during the game. Is just like, look, us Palace fans, we're quite quick to jump on Hennessy's back when he does a mistake and things like that. And then I thought the same thing might happen to sort of Guaita, but to be fair, the geezer played a phenomenal game, and to come back mentally that strong and put in a performance like that, it's incredible. It's incredible to see. And if he carries on putting in a performance like that, then Jack Butland and whatnot, it's only going to raise his game.
Exactly. Apparently, Spurs fans are fuming. according to Dama. And there should be because that wasn't a great performance. I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't a great performance by them, but I feel like we actually played well, Chris. Today,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but what do you make of the balance that Roy Hodgson had in terms of tactics?
Well, so I think if we break it down in the opening half, if I'm being honest, I thought their left back, Regulin or whatnot,
regular.
he was decent. He was pinning us back. And I think in Dombele in the middle as well, he had a lot of energy in that first half. But at the same time, on the counter attack, Palace were dangerous, So we gave Spurs enough respect without sort of them punishing us time and time again in the first half. So I thought Hodgson got everything spot on. I feel like as the game was going on, I could probably sense, Schlupp not being involved as much as we want him to going forward. But then I think that's credit to Spurs because actually they pinned us down a little bit. But when the second half came around, we were positive, and I was glad Roy didn't change things. I know he doesn't change things regularly anyway, but yeah. I'm glad he didn't take Benteke off. I was glad that he didn't take Eze off because you could just sense something was happening. And to be fair, praise to Schlupp because, he played such a defensive role in the first half. He wasn't really seen in the attacking thirds of the pitch. And then the reward comes by getting that poacher's goal. And you could see what it meant to the fans and to the players. And that was a beautiful sight to see.
100%. Let's quickly talk about Benteke. Of course, he didn't score a goal today, but I don't have the statistics right next to me. Pat was on before you. I think he said he won 12 out of 14 headers. And you might think, oh, he just won headers, whatever. But them headers, he created chances. Once again, he's involved. And he seemed like we saw it last season with him creating chances, but he seems like he looks like a player with confidence, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And again, sort of like, it's hard to get away from the stats. We mentioned it the other week, like when Palace play without Wilf, we've got this dreadful streak and whatnot. And then the commentators are quite quick to pick up on Benteke's scoring form as well. But to be honest, like his performances have been there. It's just he's panicked in the last third. But what he brought to the game today was nice little touches. Eze and Zaha knew exactly where the ball was going to drop, where he was going to be, picking up those loose ends. And also as well, he was an attacking threat from set pieces. But also as well, defensively, Benteke gives us that option when we're sort of defending corners. I don't know if you saw it, but the amount of times we broke away from sort of like him clearing a header, it's very easy for someone like Eze to sort of turn on a sixpence, get the ball to Wilf, and then we're away. So I think he's effective. And like I mentioned the other week as well, like all our strikers bring something different to Palace. And certainly at this moment, I don't think anyone should be replacing the front two of Wilf and Benteke.
100%. Eze once again. This guy he's on a mission. He's on a mission to take absolute baller. He's on a mission to take on the Premier League. And at times I'm just looking, I'm like, how did we only pay £20 million for this guy? Like, another brilliant performance. And you're not talking about a performance against a low league. This is Tottenham. Yeah. And Tottenham under Jose Mourinho, who are like well drilled, and he still managed to find his spaces behind. He had that shot in the first half. It hit the post. Like this guy his confidence is on another level, and the potential. I don't know about you, Chris, but I don't know where this guy can land because I don't think there's a limit in terms of his style of play. He can go to the very top.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why. Obviously we got him a little bit cheap, but I think there's a bit of a sell-on clause for QPR. I think there's like a 20% sell-on clause. So, the expectation is, if he carries on playing, he could reach the top of the game. But it's early days still, and I think him playing with Wilf and players like that certainly will enhance his reputation as a ball carrier and whatnot. I think what was pleasing to see was. Roy's teams are really well drilled, really like defensively, we think first. But Eze actually he is playing well on that left wing. He is playing quite well, in different areas where us Palace fans might have put a question mark around him. So fair play to the geezer. Wonderful performance against a real well-drilled Spurs team, and only more positive things to come.
Yeah, well, there was a comment. I don't know who it was by. I'm going to try to find it right now, but it was from Jacob. He says, does this game prove that Townsend should be more of a super sub? He came on in the 87th minute. Jeffrey Schlupp started down the right-hand side. Do you think that this is now
It's a weird one. It's a weird one because, let's be honest, earlier in the season, Townsend, he was putting in the performances. He works hard for the team. I think, if I'm being honest, the only disappointing thing with Townsend is, him not scoring consistently like we saw him do for Newcastle and Spurs and the other loan teams. But I like Townsend, but certainly with Schlupp playing and Eze as well, gives us a better balance. And you struggle to fit Townsend in the starting 11. So maybe, the best place for him is coming off on the bench. But, that's not to say if we were to play one of the big teams away from home, Townsend, for his energy and work rate, would be a good option.
Looking ahead to the next game now against West Ham, it's going to be a different type of challenge. I'll speak to Pat about it. It's not going to be easy because they are doing well in the league. Surely you make no changes to the lineup now that it's worked against Tottenham as well as West Brom, or do you see any changes?
I'd say it all depends really on fatigue. Playing a midweek game, obviously, we don't play European football and nor West Ham, so I'd imagine probably the team's unchanged really. And one thing I do quite like Riedewald coming on, more and more frequent as well. I'm glad that he's not getting left behind, and he sticks with Luca and MacArthur. So maybe Riedewald come in for maybe MacArthur, but otherwise same team.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining me, Chris. Speak to you hopefully after the West Ham game. Hopefully another result. But speak to you soon.
Adios. Peace.
Thank you. That was Chris. Now we're going to another Chris, but this time is Chris Hamblin.
It's Times. What's up, Diyar, my G? How you doing?
How you doing? You all right?
I'm all right. Yeah. You hear me okay, yeah?
Yeah. You sound a bit more mature.
More mature, yeah. Well, I've grown up a lot in the last 90 minutes.
See, I don't blame you after that performance, but wow, where do I start? The first half, he wasn't really that, it wasn't as good as the second half. We had that Vicente Guaita howler, but overall, I mean, this is a game where we talk about Roy Hodgson's tactics, but he found the perfect balance.
I just don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was probably a bit more positive about the first half than you guys were watching at home, I think. But that's mainly because of the benefit of the atmosphere, I guess. But I think the second half surprised me. It really did. I didn't expect us to come out and really. Well, let's face it, we dominated Tottenham, right? Second half.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine that happened, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened.
Yeah, so I'm still not quite sure how to deal with that because that was a thing that happened. They wasted so much time. They were rolling around. Harry Kane was whining all game. The referee was incredibly biased. I mean, we don't expect any different from Kevin Friend, but he is a cheat. And I can't even say allegedly because I've just said he is a cheat, so he is factually a cheat.
He's factually a cheat.
Or he's factually incompetent. One of those two things, or both. So, I mean, trying to get my head around what I saw, I just saw a team that was really high on confidence. We had a real good focal point in Benteke, didn't we? Let's face it. He won so much in the air. He put the defence under pressure all the time. He didn't waste energy sort of chasing lost causes, but at the same time, he did put pressure on the whole back line himself. I thought for a little while, the goal scorer, Schlupp, we were carrying him a little bit because he was the only one who was really struggling. I mean, Eze wasn't up to the standard of the West Brom game, but he was still good, still linking well. So I thought we were carrying Schlupp a little bit, and then he just had a little 5 minutes where he was involved in everything, won a few fouls here and there, and then and popped up to score the goal. And I did not know how to celebrate there. I had no idea what to do.
What did you clap?
Well, I jumped up and I started screaming, and I said, and then I clapped, and then I looked around and I was like, oh yeah, because we're socially distancing, there's nobody around me, so what do I do? So yeah, I sort of punched the air a little bit. Then everyone remembered that we sing, don't we? We sing "We Love You," so we did that for a bit, which was nice. And then we kind of forgot what we did after that. So,
Well, you should have seen me and Patrick's reaction. Well, we lost the plot. We actually lost the plot, but you missed that bit. But don't worry, next week, on Wednesday, hopefully you'll be back on a watch along, so you won't miss it.
I hope I'm back at Selhurst again soon. You know,
I don't think it's gonna happen. No. Yeah, it is good.
No,
like, honestly, I don't know when we scored and when they showed the cameras at the fans, I was like, yeah, I missed that. I don't care who's the manager. I missed that, especially against Tottenham in the second half, absolutely dominating them. But then again, you couldn't celebrate as you normally do. You just normally at Selhurst you stand still anyways. You don't do much. So you
well,
you just stand still by yourself.
Yeah, well, exactly. I suppose the interesting things that you miss as well that you don't remember, right? So you don't remember the humour. So really early on, we were singing "Can You Hear the Tottenham Sing?" because obviously they had no fans there, and then we were singing "Is That All You Take Away?" And then it's just like little things like that you miss. And then I suppose the sort of the fact that you can watch the game that you want to watch, right? When you're at home, we talk about this a lot, but it's been so long since we've been able to watch at the ground. You're watching the pictures that the TV cameras show you, so you can't see what's going on anywhere else on the pitch, and it's a totally different game when you could just stop for take 2 minutes out and watch a certain player and what he's doing and watch. So you understand so much more about what the plan was. Unfortunately, Roy remembered to have a plan this time, didn't he? So
would you say that this result was better than the West Ham one? In terms of not result, but performance.
Yeah, I mean 11 v 11, they're top of the league, and they played very well first half. Moved us about really well. They kept getting their fullbacks forward. You know, I think the game changed, and I want to give credit to the manager and the players, but the game changed because of the Jose effect. You know, the phrase is shithouse, isn't it? Let's shithouse them for a little while, and just make it, frustrate the hell out of us because he wanted to win ugly. You know, they could have gone on, pressurized us, played a bit more football, and really put us under pressure, right? But instead, they chose to try and frustrate the hell out of us, and almost you can play all day, you're not going to score against us, and we're going to waste all the time. But we just got that once we got a little bit of a head of steam and a bit of confidence. I think it was sustained pressure for a good 10 minutes when we got the goal. You just felt that something was going to happen, something was going to come. Either we were going to get the goal or they were going to kill us on the break, but it was definitely not going to stay 1-0. And you look at the changes Jose made after we scored. He just threw players on, and all of a sudden they're moaning because we're taking our time with the throw on. And you just thought that's beautiful, that moment where you can look over at a frustrated little Jose Mourinho and thinking, well, you told him, mate. You told him to do that, waste the time. You could have gone 2-3 up if you really wanted.
Yeah, I know you went in your car on purpose just to show off, but everyone's saying the Hammermobile. I know you want to show off your leather seats. Go and show us your leather seats. Man. This is all the back of the nest money. Hammer takes it from all the watch logs. I'm joking.
Yeah, I don't want to show off my brand new BMW 320i touring sport.
Oh yeah, it's the new car. I didn't realize.
Yeah, man, this isn't the back of the nest Jag. This is something up,
Yeah, and you got a new system as well. Yeah, I can see you got a little armrest there. Nice little armrest. Oh, yeah, you got a nice.
Lovely. I'm trying to work out the angles. Little armrest. Yeah. My can of Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
Well,
look, we'll probably talk about the game. No, stop showing off. We'll probably talk about the game in more detail because I've had enough of you here already. We'll probably talk about the game in further time. So, thank you for joining me. And
no worries.
See you on a review show, which we do for the last 10 years.
More than 10 years.
Which will get released on hopefully Tuesday or Monday.
Monday night, Tuesday, something like that. Yeah. Good to speak to you, Diyar, and cheers, everybody. Take care. Bye.
So that was Hambo. There, he was at the game today. He clearly enjoyed it, even though the celebrations were a bit odd. Next, we're going to be having Stan on. He's going to be giving his say on the game. And if you want to come on and have your say, make sure to message us on Twitter, on Facebook, and we'll have you on as well, so you can give us your thoughts. But what a performance! Hambo's happy, which is a good thing. Patrick was happy as well. And most times when I watch them, we're all negative, but yeah, it's a bit weird smiling after Palace win. And yeah, big up Hambo, as 1979 says it. Stan is busy, so he won't be able to log on. So yeah, okay, then I'll wrap it up because I have to head off anyways. Bit busy now, but thanks for joining me. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, up the Palace.